Hey everyone, thank you for joining us here at Coolest Life. We are here in front of the National Steam and Trolley Museum area, or National something like that. I'll put it in the caption as well. Did you get it right? No, I don't remember what the specific name. Trolley Museum is actually that way, but it is a National Historic site, and so we're going to get in here and look around, get you some pictures of some locomotives. Yeah, that's the one. Locomotion is a dance from the 70s.
But you know it anyway.
Yeah, in the late 70s. Used to roller skate to that one. So go join us, because you've just entered
The Coolest Life.
We just walked through these big doors, and there's a huge area here that shows you some of the old cars that were inside, what they look like. And everything's very iron worthy. Tells you a little about the history of different days. And they've also got a small replica of the big room outside these windows we're looking at, which is this one right here. It's actually a big turntable. Turntable's there. And they got ladders you can go up inside the car, so we're going to do that here in just a few minutes. Some good sized replicas here. These stand about 14 inches tall, maybe less. No, probably maybe a little more. I don't think these are any kind of working, like these don't move. It's just a hard plastic. That's all this is. To kind of give you an idea of what they may have looked like at the time. This looks like, this one here's got a little more workings. This isn't just a big piece of plastic. Actually, I think those pieces of coals are actually real also. But this is a seat, you can see. The person will sit up here and actually drive this one. This is actually working, but it works just like a regular steam locomotive. It's not internal combustion or anything like that. But you can see it's got all the parts to it. A really nice model. It's probably 18 inches tall. Very detailed. Really cool. Probably ran in parades and circuses and any place they could put down a rail, because these aren't regular tires. They actually must run on a rail. That's pretty neat. You never really appreciate the size of these things until you get right up close to them. So you figure the wheel here, not tire because it's not rubber, the wheel here is 5'10". It's amazing how big they are. Wow. And this would be the first roundabout, sort of, the turntable, the merry-go-round. You want to call this thing. Obviously, you know, the train gets on here, and this is still a working yard. So if they were actually going to bring a train in here, they make us get out of this area. While it's not going on, it still makes a good site to come see, and they put the railing around it so people don't fall off into the hole. Not that it's very deep. On the sides, it's only like, I don't know, 4 feet. Neat. So this one here you can actually go up inside of, and we're going to take a little trot up inside of it. It's got all the gears and mechanisms and everything, and pushy pulleys.
Doors can open, so you're set to do.
Yeah, doors you can open. You can twist and push on the other kind of stuff. This is a static, because this was not going anywhere. It's not actually a working locomotive at all. Cold there, huh? I don't know exactly how steam engines work. I don't know enough about them. Obviously, it has to do with water. Yeah, I'm rusted off. So this other building has got a lot of static displays that you see here about the people that worked on these railroads. Got a whole bunch of static and shows you some of the sleeping quarters or a labor camp. Interesting, when they wanted to pass a message from the stop, they'd actually have someone come out. In this case, the grow-op would have a a big circle like this thing here, and he would put his arm through it, and it had a message on it. See the message right there? It's tied to it. That's how they would give messages to them, let them know you got to stop at the next one, because this one here they weren't stopping at, this particular one. So they would actually send messages to them and say, let them know what their instructions were on down the road if they had to make a stop or what they needed, or if they had damaged track. That would be a great way to relay that message. So here's one of the bridges for some of those railroads. They've got one that I just did a couple pictures on. Maybe I put it in this video of this big viaduct. Looks like this. It's massive. Didn't know it was nearly as big as it was till I got it right up to it. So that monstrosity behind me is a Tunkhannock Creek Viaduct. It goes way over there. It is massive. I'm gonna get you another picture a little closer, but it is a sight to behold. These are up on hills. You can see how tall the trees are, and it's way above the trees. It's amazing. So it says Lackawanna Railroad. It's actually Nichols, PA is where it's at. That thing is just massive. I know people around here are probably thinking, what is he doing? Taking pictures of a railroad trust thing. But anyway, it's huge. And before we called them homeless, they were actually called hobos. This is what hobos did. They would jump on a train for transportation from point A to point B, city to city, and they would ride up on the trains illegally for transportation. And of course, you got the old conductor here, always checking his watch. They need to stay on time. Everyone depended on him being on time.
Seat box the entire trip. If I'm not shuffling, I'm watching my gauges. This one is the water.
This is pretty neat here.
It's the single most important.
It takes two people to run it, because one person has got to maintain the steam and water levels and everything, and the other person's got to actually steer it, and so it's forward and backwards and doing the horns.
So the water level's constantly dropping. We run out of water, and the boiler blasts itself a quarter mile up the track.
You don't want to do that.
This is the steam pressure gauge. If it falls too low, your engine won't run.
Interesting.
If you find yourself stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
So you don't know how an engine works? Well, here's how this one works, because they've got cross sections out of it. It's really cool. There's your piston and steam. Even running the wheels. Steam would run that. They call fire tubes, where the heat goes in. The water's going around it. That's the rotator? Huh. A middle section. She's just seeing a cross section of this area here. Of something rotating. Not that doesn't look like it rotates, but firebox, that's where they throw the coals in. They said they throw it in at a U shape, so they go around the walls with it. Help it burn evenly. Interesting. Inside of a locomotive, I've never seen a cross section, and they got it painted differently so that you could really tell what works with what and how it affects it. This was interesting because they show you exactly how they make some of these wheels that they have. They fire them, hardens the metal. If you ever watch Forged in Fire, that's basically what they're doing at a much bigger scale. And this was interesting. You see some of these tools that are different shapes that they would use, and look at the size of this one. That was almost 4 feet tall. It's a big wrench. And you can see how long this is with the pipe, the one beside it. Well, they say, give me, it was an old philosopher that said, give me a big enough lever and I will move the world. You got that right. But this is an actual working area that they would work on some of these trains that they use. Some of our trains, like this one here, is probably more toward a, it's real pretty. So might not work on it quite so much as they do for tourists. pulls a tourist car. No one here right now. It's actually lunchtime, so my guess is there's no one here because they're out to lunch. They've got a lot of life-size models. This is actually the Tycoon. You always distinguish him by the top hat. Who's this guy? He is a railroad traveler. The hobo. Always needs to shave. Hobos always need to shave. Breakdancer. When I first turned this corner, that guy there I thought was real from a distance. I'm telling you. Just the way his pants hang and he's off on one leg and they call me the fireman. He's the guy with the shovel. You go to this one here like for the fireman. You got this one on the other side. It tells you some of the things he had, the kind of gloves he had, different gauges he was watching the whole time. This talks about how operations left the area and it was overgrown with weeds and filled with dilapidated buildings, and you can see all the weeds growing up around the railroad tracks. And then in 1986 to present, the National Park Service took over the railroad yard in Steamtown, which is where we're at now. This became a National Historic Site. And that's what it looks like now. That's actually visitor parking there, you see. I found this kind of interesting in this area called Labor, Business, and Government. They've got some stories, but I noticed something down here. This little blue book. Constitution and Bylaws of the Brotherhood of the Maintenance of Way Employees. There's some me there, aren't they? The reason I think it looks unusual is because this is a pretty common depiction in masonry to have a Constitution and Bylaws book that looks like that. That's got the blue cover, the outline there, the border, same type of font. You would think that they definitely had an influence there. There's other ways you can make Constitution and Bylaws. You can make them in a book like that one there that doesn't look familiar to me at all, but definitely this one here. It's really common to see those at all kinds of lodges all over the country that have a small book like that with their bylaws. Well, this railroad car, it's a little different. Lavatory, nice. Looks like a head in a Navy sub. Check out those videos, we've got those. Looks like it's a post office. Some mobile post office is what this is. So this side has got different cities. Mishawaka. We know where that's at. That's in Indiana. So these are probably from Indiana. Actually, Tipton is where my brother lives. And a sister, come think of it. And another brother. They live in Tipton. You can tell where all that's at. Elkhart, South Bend. There's your actual kitchen there. Interesting. It's narrow though. If I come through, almost have to come sideways through this doorway here. My shoulders hit both sides. The dining room. Some lady there looking in the window. Oh, that's my wife. You got these. This is actually their rooms themselves. Go very far, do they? Oh, it does? Yeah, it comes on. This is still a narrow hallway. She's even walking sideways. That can. I am. I was. This is actually the bedroom here. The other one's like a living room. Looks like there's a doorway to the other room. The lavatory, the head, the toilet. I'm walking sideways, I'll tell you. I'm scared to say it. Book beds. Regular riding cars. Nice. Back inside the wheelhouse. I think it's called the wheelhouse. Because the wheel is actually there. It goes on the other side of those glass. Here's where they bring them in at. Again, this is actually a working mechanic shop for these locomotives. Not just restorations, but the ones that are actually they're still using on the railways today.